Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you are sick and tired of typing out the exact same prompts, the exact same rules, and the exact same formats every single time you open Claude, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we are breaking down a total game-changing framework from the AI Mob School student guide called Claude Skills. We're going to look at how you can build a set of instructions just once and have Claude execute it your way perfectly every single time you ask. Let's jump in.
So, let's start by looking at life without a skill. And you guys know this pain, right? You're constantly retyping rules, you're forgetting steps, and the results sort of drift every time you start a new chat. It is slow, and honestly, it's exhausting. But with a skill, oh man, it's a completely different story. You ask in one short sentence, and you get the exact same high quality every single time. Your rules never get skipped, it's fast, it's repeatable, and it scales effortlessly.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll hit Meet Your New Playbook, take a look inside the SKILL.md file, go through the 4 steps to build, uncover the magic trigger, and wrap it all up with Mastering Claude Skills. All right, Section 1. Meet Your New Playbook. What a skill is and why it matters.
I want you to think of a skill simply as a set of instructions that you save just once. It is exactly like bringing on a new team member and handing them a playbook. You wouldn't re-explain the entire job to them every single morning, right? Once they know your steps and your rules, you just say, hey, do the thing, and it's done, right? Well, that is exactly what a skill does for Claude.
A skill literally locks in your workflow, and there are 3 massive reasons why this matters so much. First up is consistency. You get the exact same steps and the exact same quality every time. Second, it saves a ridiculous amount of time. No more copy-pasting giant blocks of text from a messy Google Doc. And third, which I think is absolutely brilliant, your specific brand colors, your unique voice, and your strict rules are automatically baked right in. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how does the system actually hold all this information? Let's move to Section 2, inside the SKILL.md file, peeking under the hood.
Now, before we look at the file itself, just take a deep breath. You do not have to write any code. Every skill lives in one simple file called SKILL.md. But you don't need to be a programmer to make this work. Claude actually builds it with you, collaboratively, in plain, everyday English. When Claude builds that file with you, it organizes everything neatly into 3 specific parts. First is the name, something like KDP-Notebook Builder. Second is the description, which dictates exactly when Claude should use it. And third is the instructions, the actual literal steps and rules Claude must follow. And honestly, that's the whole shebang.
Knowing that those 3 parts are all it takes, let's jump to Section 3, 4 steps to build, the process of making a skill.
The creation process here is entirely frictionless. Step 1, describe it. Just tell Claude the job and the rules. Step 2, Claude writes it, turning your rough description into a perfectly clean SKILL.md file. Step 3, it gets securely saved right there in your workspace. And Step 4, use it forever. From that moment on, it practically runs itself. Now, about that running itself part, let's move to Section 4, the magic trigger, and learn exactly how to use a skill.
This brings us to the absolute biggest point of confusion for new users. Everyone asks, where's the run button? Like, how do you actually turn this playbook on when you need it?
Well, here is the secret. There is no run button. You don't execute a command. You literally just ask Claude in plain words. The real magic lies in the description inside that SKILL.md file we talked about a minute ago. See, Claude reads the description of every skill you own, and when your plain text request matches one of those descriptions, that skill switches on completely automatically. It just knows. The description is your invisible trigger.
Let's see how this plays out in a real-world scenario straight from the AI Mob School guide. Imagine you just type, build a Candy Girls composition notebook, 150 pages, color interior. Because you wrote a good description earlier, Claude instantly recognizes the job. Boom, the skill fires automatically, outputting a finished product that perfectly adheres to all your saved rules. No friction at all.
So now that you understand the mechanics of how it works, let's wrap up with Section 5, Mastering Claude Skills, Best Practices and Pitfalls.
To make sure these triggers fire perfectly every single time, follow these best practices. First, name it clearly. Future you will definitely thank you for that. Second, write a really strong description spelling out exactly when Claude should use it. Third, stick to one job per skill. Keep it focused. And finally, update it as you learn. Your playbook should evolve right alongside you.
On the flip side, you've got to avoid these common mistakes.
The absolute biggest one, a vague description. If Claude cannot tell when to use your skill based on your description, the skill simply won't fire. It really is that simple. Also, avoid trying to do way too much in one single skill. If you have a massive job, break it up into smaller ones. And lastly, sometimes we just forget we have a skill or we phrase things a little weirdly. A great rule of thumb here, if a skill isn't firing automatically, just explicitly name the skill in your plain text request to force it to activate.
So, to summarize everything we've covered in today's explainer, a skill saves your instructions once. It triggers itself automatically when you ask in plain English, and it gives you the exact same high-quality result every single time, completely eliminating the need for repetitive prompting.
You literally hold the ultimate cheat code now to eliminate tedious, repetitive prompting from your workflow forever. So, taking a look at your own daily tasks and your own creative bottlenecks, what is the very first skill you are going to build today? Thanks so much for joining me, and happy building!